Good evening. Welcome to the State of Business on our television with me, Kavish Pereira. Let's take a look at today's headlines. President appoint new Chief Justice and Defense Secretary. President, Prime Minister and Opposition Leader attend special Sunday Mass at Archbishop's house. News in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena today handed out letters of appointments to the Chief Justice, Acting Attorney General, Auditor General, Acting Inspector General of Police, Advisor to the Minister of Defence and the Secretary of Defence. Accordingly, Attorney General Jayanta Jayasuriya took oaths as the Chief Justice in the presence of President Sirisena. Solicitor General Dappula de Oliveira was sworn in as Acting Attorney General. Furthermore, Additional Auditor General Chulanta Wickramaratne has been appointed as Auditor General. In addition to these appointments, Senior Deputy Inspector General C.D. Wickramaratne was appointed as Acting Inspector General of Police and former IGP N.K. Lanka was appointed as an advisor to the Ministry of Defence. Also, former Army Commander Retired General Shanta Kottegoda was appointed as Secretary of Defence by President Maithripala Sirisena. President Maithripala Sirisena joined the special Sunday Mass held under the patronage of the Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, at the Archbishop's house yesterday, remembering the victims of the disastrous Easter Sunday attacks. The Archbishop of Colombo, Cardinal Malcolm Ranjit, held a solemn special mass from a church adjacent to his house, which was attended by President Maithripala Sirisena, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. After the sermon, the Archbishop and the political leaders lit candles to commemorate the victims of the suicide bombings. Sri Lanka has been on high alert since the attacks on Easter Sunday, with nearly 10,000 soldiers deployed across the island to carry out searches and hunt down members of two local Islamist groups believed to have carried out the attack. The central bank has requested licensed banks and non-banking financial institutions to reduce interest rates on deposits to accelerate monetary policy transmission through the financial sector, enabling licensed banks to reduce their interest rates on lending products in general and to SMEs in particular, and thereby enhance credit flows to the real economy. Issuing a statement, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka states that this was as a result of the central bank having observed high interest rates charged on lending products and exclusively high interest rates offered on deposit products by licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized banks and non-banking financial institutions, despite the measures taken to bring down overnight interest rates and enhance market liquidity through the reduction of statutory reserve ratio. Especially in the context of well-contained inflation and inflation expectations, Sri Lanka's interest rates in real terms also have been found to be excessive in comparison to other regional economies. Interest rates on savings and other deposits with tenures less than 3 months offered by licensed banks and non-banking financial institutions will be linked to the standing deposit facility rate, while long tenures will be linked to the 364-day treasury bill rate. Licensed banks and non-banking financial institutions may offer an additional interest rate up to 50 basis points for savings deposits of children under the age of 18 years and for fixed deposits of senior citizens with tenure of 1 year or more. Vehicle registrations rebounded on most categories in March, recording a total of 35,150 units, up from 29,837 units to the previous month due to high number of working days in March compared to February. Total motor cars recorded 2,961 units in March, up from 2,347 units in February and significantly down from 6,207 units 12 months ago. Brand new cars recorded 422 units in March from 434 units in February and significantly down from 1,069 units 12 months ago. Small cars less than 1,000 cc accounted for 79.3% of units and financing share was 50.7%, in line with normal monthly average. Pre-owned cars recorded 2,539 units in March, up from 1,913 units in February, but significantly down from 5,138 units 12 months ago. Premium branded cars recorded 160 units in March, up from 111 units in February, significantly down from 222 units in 12 months ago. The Millennium Challenge Corporation of the US government has approved a grant of $480 million to Sri Lanka at its board meeting held on the 25th of April 2019 in Washington, D.C., subject to congressional notification. On the request of the Honorable Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, the MCC has done an evaluation in terms of their investment criteria and selected Sri Lanka as a qualified country to receive grant funding under their Compact Investment Program. Under this grant, Sri Lanka is getting a $480 million grant for three main projects to be completed within a period of 5 years. These projects encompass a special transport development program covering the Colombo metropolitan area to reduce the traffic congestion by improving flow rate, reduce travel time, reduce traffic emission, and reduce accidents, combined with the bus transport service modernization program, including private and public sector transport service. Further improvement of land administration process will also be done in 8 districts, improving the land valuation system, upgrading 10 land registries, and preparation of parcel fabric map of all state and private land to facilitate the activities of the survey department. Stay tuned for more news after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Attorney at Law Premnath Dolwata today lodged a complaint at police headquarters requesting President Maithripala Sirisena to ban the international terrorist organization ISIS. Speaking exclusively to our television, he expressed the following.
Today we came to the police headquarters to lodge a complaint to ban the ISIS organization. Rather than banning the local terrorist organization, we have to ban the international terrorist organization, because already they have undertaken these two attacks were done by ISIS. So at the moment, still the president hadn't released the gazette for this local terrorist organization. So we urge the president to print the gazette as soon as possible with the new this ISIS as well. Then there will be 3 terrorist organizations. So I believe that president will take the necessary action. So I urged to the president those 2 local terrorist organizations and as well as the international well-aware ISIS Islamic State also should be banned from the Sri Lanka as terrorist organization.
Speaking exclusively to our television, Chairman of the National Insurance Trust Fund, Manjula De Silva, says that despite an increase in the demand for terrorism covers owing to the Easter Sunday attacks, the NITF has ensured that the premiums for terrorism coverage has not been increased.
After the event, you can see actually there is a heavy demand, and a lot of people have requested for the cover through the insurance companies, and we are providing the cover without increasing the rate. I mean, we don't want to exploit this situation to our advantage. So we with the agreement of the insurance industry, have decided to charge the same rate that was applicable before the event.
Speaking further, Manjula De Silva elaborated upon reasons why the public and especially corporate entities should consider insurance coverage against terrorism.
And we would advise people, given the current circumstances, it is always good to take this cover, because you can never say, when a risk is going to materialize. So it is always better to take the terrorism cover. There's another cover called the riot cover, which most people used to take, but terrorism, they opted out. Of course, sometimes, you can't blame people also, because for the last 10 years, we haven't had an incident of this nature. But particularly the corporate entities are best advised to keep these covers going, even if you don't have a claim for a long period of time.
De Silva also expressed the following regarding the role of the NITF within the insurance industry.
In Sri Lanka, the cover for terrorism is normally obtained when you take an insurance policy from any insurance company. It's taken as an extension or an add-on, and that cover is given by the Strike, Riot, Civil Commotion and Terrorism Fund, which we call the SRCC&T Fund, which is managed by NITF, the National Insurance Trust Fund, which is a state-owned entity. So whenever somebody insures a property and takes terrorism cover, that cover comes from this fund, which is like a pool created by all the insurance companies getting together. So now in the case of the recent events, basically 2 of the hotels have obtained cover through this fund, through their respective insurance companies, and so that is Cinnamon Grand and Kingsbury. So in respect of these 2 hotels, we have already paid advances of 25 million rupees each. as an immediate response so that they can start renovations. The final claim settlement will take place once the assessment is completed. So at the moment there are independent loss adjusters who are working on the assessment.
The Meteorology Department states that the cyclonic storm Phony over southeast Bay of Bengal to the east of Sri Lanka is currently about 580 kilometers east of Betiklo and is likely to intensify into a severe cyclonic storm during the next 12 hours and further intensify into a very severe cyclonic storm in the subsequent 24 hours. The system is very likely to move northeastwards off the east coast till 1st May and thereafter recurve northeastwards gradually. Strong windy and showery condition is expected over the island today and tomorrow. Strong winds up to 60 km per hour can be expected over the island, particularly in the northern, north-central, northwestern and southern provinces and the Trincomalee and Ampara districts. Showers or thunder showers at times will occur over most parts of the island and very heavy falls of above 150 mm can be expected at some places in the Sabarakamuwa, central, southern, western and northwestern provinces and in the Mannar district. Heavy falls of about 100 mm can be expected at some places elsewhere. The general public, naval and fishing communities are requested to be attentive about future advisories issued by the Department of Meteorology in this regards. Heavy showers are likely in the western, southern and eastern sea areas. Winds will be southwesterly in direction over the sea areas around the island and speed will be 30 to 40 km per hour and it can increase up to 50 to 60 km per hour at times. Wind speed will be 70 to 80 km per hour over the deep sea areas to the south, southeast and east of Sri Lanka and can be rough to high at times, and wind speed can increase up to 90 km per hour at times, and fishermen are advised not to venture into sea areas to the southwestern, southern, eastern, southeastern, northeastern and northern of Sri Lanka until further notice. Keep tuning in for stock updates after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The All Share Price Index gained 6.25 points to close at 5,443.31 and the S&P SL20 gained 12.61 points to close at 2,613.37. The turnover was 162.6 million rupees and 5.6 million shares were traded. Next up is Forex rates. Well, that's a wrap of the bulletin for the day, signing off with a promise for tomorrow at the same time with nothing but the latest. Thank you and good night.